Aloha and shalom. We're here for the first quarter activation and we're setting up. For those of you who have been here before to the activation portal, welcome back. We've been doing this every week for many years now. And for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome to our global family. I'm just going to take my cards out, set up, and begin to shuffle. And remember, you guys, the deck represents the whole, and each card represents a different part of that whole. Okay, so when the deck is all together, it is all of those parts united. So you can see the deck as the collective, and each card is a different part of the collective. You can see the deck as the whole you, and each card is a different aspect of self. Okay, so it represents both the larger self and the individual self. You can also see the deck as the brain, and each card represents a different neural pathway. There are many different ways to look at it. So while I shuffle, and remember, when you shuffle them, you're touching each card, so we're activating each neural pathway. We're activating each part of the whole by touching each one. So there's no right or wrong way to shuffle. You just got to feel as though you're activating the whole in your own way. And while I do that, go ahead and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. I see you already started doing that. We have London, Australia, Taos, California, and I'm tuning in from Sedona, Arizona. And remember, you guys, the live video gets recorded, so it stays on the wall here, and then it also gets loaded to YouTube and Instagram, Rebecca Magic. So if there's someone you want to share these videos with, you know, maybe someone who could use an uplifting message, or a family member or a friend who's not on Facebook, you can always share with them the YouTube or Instagram link. Welcome to everybody new. Arizona, UK, Maine. And I just like to imagine all these places lighting up the grid. That's how I picture it. Use your imagination. Imagination is everything. Missouri in the house. And I invite you to share the video now while we're live with family, friends, or a favorite group on Facebook who could help to activate the message further, help to uplift the message further, or maybe someone is in need of hearing an inspirational message right now. So feel free to share it while we're live for the potency of the message. Otherwise, feel free to share the recording at the end. Another California, Illinois, Portugal. And this is the first quarter, so the message is going to involve having stepped into this 4-part cycle just a little bit. It's like we're finally both feet in now, okay? We're 1 week in. We had the new moon last week, was a new beginning, and now we're both feet in the game. And we're just starting to realize what the lesson of the month is really about, what it's bringing to us. Going for the treasure, the Hebrew letter deck. And remember, the Hebrew cards that I made, they look like this. This was the ally last week. They work just like the tarot. So they each have a Hebrew letter from the Hebrew alphabet, which is Hebrew alphabet. And each card or each letter represents a different aspect of self or a different archetypal concept. So same thing, you just want to shuffle them till you feel complete, till you feel like you've touched every one, till you feel like they're all awake. Not just within your hands, but within your being and within the collective whole. And we're giving thanks in advance for the message about to come through. Thank you, archetypes, faces of the one, for this message, for this guidance, which means thank you, thank me, thank we, thank one, because we are all, it is all one. We are all, it is all made up of these archetypes. These are the building blocks of all of reality. So thank one for this message. So as usual, beginning with the tarot cards, we're going to pick the primary focus of the week, acknowledging that it's the first quarter part of the cycle. So we're just 1 week into a 4-part cycle. What is the focus, which is also known as the challenge and the gift? Picking one card for what can be tied up, let go of, moved past, so that we can free up some energy to focus on the focus on the present. And as usual with our Hebrew deck, we're going to pull the ally of the week. Okay. I see we already this always happens in this exact moment. We already have somebody spamming. So I'm going to go ahead and ban that person. If they've reached out to you for a reading, they're a scammer. They've been blocked. Hopefully there are no others right now. But they may pop up later, so just be aware if someone's offering you a reading. It's definitely not me. It's definitely a scam. You should always seek out the reading. Just be aware of that. So beginning with the challenge and gift of the week. 7 of Cups. And right away, I feel a very clear message that comes up, and then I'm gonna go deeper into it, but I just want to start off with the first thing that popped into my mind. Stay focused. Stay focused. And it's cup, so it's matters of the heart, emotions. It's the suit of water. Emotions, feelings. Stay focused so you don't become lost in your feelings. Stay focused so that you have a steady goal that your heart is set on. Not that your mother, father, sister, brother, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever is set on. A goal that your heart is set on. Stay focused. And then examine that focus and ask yourself, why is this my focus? What is it going to bring me? Is this going to bring me sustainable happiness? And when I ask that question, is it going to bring me sustainable happiness? I need to remember who I really am. The eternal I am, the one that is one with all things. Is the goal that my heart is after right now, once I achieve that goal, is it going to bring me and the larger me lasting happiness? An overflowing cup, meaning an overflowing heart, because the heart is the Holy Grail. That's the process we should be going through, that the 7 of Cups reminds us of when we analyze, what is my heart after? What is my, think little m, capital E-Y-E, my I, my inner I. The I that's one with the primordial I of creation, the collective. What's it going to bring to that? Because when your heart has a goal that brings lasting and sustainable happiness to the collective, then it makes the pursuit worthy, a worthy one. It makes it full of purpose. And why would you want or need that? Because your health depends upon it. We're multidimensional beings, as much as we like to forget that and focus on only one small aspect of self, which is usually very material. We need to remember how large we really are. We need to remember our eternal nature when we perform this analysis. So when you set your heart on a goal that's going to serve the whole, when you set your heart on a goal that's going to serve the whole, it will feel instantly fulfilling. Because what happens when you do that, when you align your heart with the heart of the one, when you align your will with that of the divine, you're instantly filled with purpose. Because that's why we're here, is to align with that which we truly are, as an eternal one collective, one united collective. That's the whole reason we're here. So remember, when you align your heart's desires with the heart of the one, the desires of the heart of the one, which means when you align your small will with the will of the one, you will instantly be fulfilled. You will, and it doesn't matter how unconscious you are of that bigger goal that I just described. The deepest part of you, the eternal part of you, knows that that's why we're here. And you will feel that flame light up within yourself, I promise you. It's undeniable, that feeling of fulfillment, of purpose, why we're here. It's like that flame lights up your authenticity, which is something that we're constantly after, right? We're constantly trying to find who we are, trying to figure it out. But we all share this in common. What we all are is light, eternal light. So you'll feel that in the deepest part of your being when you align your heart's goals with the goals of the one heart. So Seven of Cups is all about meditation, clarification on what the heart really wants. You see, it's like this being is looking at the different cups, the different potentials, the different goals of the heart, and it can be confusing. Situations can be deceiving. We live in the world of appearances where, you know, everything is a paradox. It's like meant to confuse us so that we can sharpen our will, right? Our sword, our will, our truth, our vision. So you may be considering right now, let's see how this could be manifesting right now for some of us. You may be looking at the different ways that you can walk the path right now. Your heart may be trying to decide what it really wants. What is your heart's conflict? And how can you look at it, look at the different choices that you have, and ask yourself, first starting with the honest, unfiltered, my heart really wants this. Just what is your heart calling out to? Be honest with yourself. Don't try to analyze so deeply first, because then you might not be honest with yourself. You might be in denial. Just where do you feel the pull, the tug? Be honest with yourself, because it first takes that honest reflection, that honest confession. Oh, my heart really is feeling pulled by this man or woman, for example, right? Because we're a society of dating apps and relationships, So be honest with yourself. Your heart's being pulled by this person. Okay. If I am honest with myself and I imagine myself with this being down the road, what does our love look like? And what is our love going to contribute to the love of the world, of the collective, of the whole? Is it really an honorable pursuit? Or can I see how lust has taken over? Lust is a big key to this card and in analyzing where our heart is being pulled. Is it lust? Sure, maybe it will bring you temporary happiness, but what is it really doing in the long run? So again, allow yourself to honestly reflect on where your heart is being tugged, being pulled. And then from there, ask yourself, is this a worthy pursuit? In regard to what we just opened this reading with, in regard to the truth that we are here to align our heart's desires with the desires of the one heart. Are you forgetting yourself and your purpose in this pursuit? You will know which is the right way to go when you can be honest with yourself and see in your mind's eye that path leading to true fulfillment, not just for yourself, but for the whole. Life supports life. God helps those who help themselves, right? This is a law that no one is exempt from. So the more selfish our desires, the more we're setting ourselves up for failure. Or if we can be honest with ourselves upon self-analysis and self-reflection, we can identify those selfish desires and turn them into selfless desires, and then we redeem ourselves. And those selfish desires actually become more helpful than it would have been had we not had them in the first place. Same thing with mistakes, right? There are lessons about this in the Torah and in all ancient scriptures. Mistakes are blessings in hindsight if we can appropriately act upon them, if we can appropriately make amends. There's a simple symbol in ancient Egypt that is a winged turtle that actually represents this concept, this law of redemption, of blessing upon making amends. If we don't make the mistakes, we don't have that extra opportunity to rise above them. We learn from our mistakes, hopefully, and turn them into blessings. So be honest with your desires, your lusts, your temptations. And ask yourself, is that really my heart, my higher self's heart pulling me in that direction? Or is it a temptation that I am meant to overcome in order to cultivate more strength and a sharper will on the pursuit of aligning my will and my heart with the will and the heart of the one? Remember, let your heart be pulled by whatever is going to serve the one. It can't be wrong. Even if later on you find out you were wrong, you can only do your best right now. You can only do your best. So if you're at least honestly analyzing your heart's desires and you're coming to an honest conclusion that fulfillment of that desire is going to bring fulfillment to the one collective, maybe even beyond this body, beyond this lifetime, then make your choice and go for it. You have nothing to lose. Because again, you will have an opportunity to redeem yourself. You will have an opportunity to make amends upon honest mistakes. And in order to collect our energy, to best focus on this and to best succeed in this current challenge, we have our major arcanum card here, the Fool. So the message here is we need to start fresh. Okay? No matter where you're at with your entanglements of the heart, no matter how deeply invested you are in those temptations, if you're realizing that they're selfish, if you're realizing that they're not going to serve the whole, you can always start anew. God, Source, Great Spirit, the laws of truth, love and light, whatever you want to call it, that's all represented by this dog right here. It's your loyal friend, the truth, love, light, God, Source, all of it is always right there at your feet, following you everywhere you go. Loyal to serve you as you serve it. The truth, love, light. So you have nothing to fear in starting over. It doesn't matter how deeply you're entangled. It may be really uncomfortable at first, but remember that we will be rewarded when we make the right decision. No matter where we're at, no matter how far we've come, remember there is no such thing as time and space. You didn't really go anywhere. It's an illusion. We're all just here in the eternal now. So wherever you find yourself, it's not about the material details of your current situation. It's not about the faces and the places and the names and the descriptions and the definitions of what you see around you. It's about what you feel and what you experience within yourself when you close your eyes. Are you in your integrity? Are you being authentic? Are you living your purpose? Are you remembering who you are and why you're here? Close your eyes. Don't be distracted by anything around you. Remember, we're always at that 0 point here, now, in this eternal present moment. So you have nothing to fear. You only need to remember the truth of who you really are. Check it out. His outfit is a conglomeration of all of his surroundings. You are that. You are it all. You are all the elements. You're one with nature. So don't let it consume you. Remember, you are one with it. The fool remembers that they're connected to an infinite source of creation, abundance, truth, love, light, all represented by the sun at its zenith here. There's a new beginning in each moment if you'll seize it. So again, no matter where you find yourself in the struggle of trying to find what direction your heart is pulling you in and which one is right, righteous, it's never too late to make a new decision. There's a new beginning in every moment, and it's yours to seize. And you're always protected. And the rose represents innocence and purity. So no matter how far you've come from that, remember, you hold that rose in your hand and in your heart. You can always start anew. It doesn't matter who you've allowed yourself to become. Remember who you are from the beginning to the never end, who you really are, that eternal light that you are one with. And when you remember that you're one with that light, you remember your purpose. You remember what your heart should really be after. You remember who you're really here to serve. And then when you come back to reality in your little situations with the names and the places and the faces and the things, hopefully after that meditation and realization, activation, you'll have the tools that you need to act appropriately, to act accordingly, to act righteously, to act from that highest place of who you really know you are. Just go there to that space of remembrance and sit there as long as you need to, so that when you come back to these decisions, you trust yourself to make the right ones. And the ally of the week is the letter Kaf. And if you want to look it up, because remember it's flipped on the camera, you can Google Hebrew letter Kaf. Q-U-O-P-H is how it's spelled. Q-U-O-P-H, Kaf. And it's the 19th letter of the Aleph Bet. Looks like this, but flipped. And it's connected to Arcanum 19, the sun. The sun. At its zenith. So what does the sun represent in its highest aspect in Arcanum 19 of the tarot? The sun represents our inner sun shining through. But it takes work, right? We're on this path to continuously allow that light to shine through the many veils. So the Kaf reminds us of that inner sun. It reminds us of the ultimate goal to keep in mind. It reminds us of our truest light. Now, sometimes we can only see the light in our own reflection in a way where we can only see the light in reflection of how far we've come. Like I can only see this version of my highest self right now because this is how far I've come and it's unimaginable. No, it is absolutely imaginable, and we all have to hold that vision of what that light looks like when we're in our highest self, which is the same for all of us. It's this sun right here at the highest point in the sky. It's the great sun of the great one. That's why it's white here, not yellow. The sky is yellow, the sun is white. It's reminding us of the ultimate light. So we're not just being asked to envision, what this human self looks like in its highest light. We're being asked to remember the ultimate, all virtuous light of compassion, God, source, whatever you want to call it, and hold tight to that vision. That's where we come from. That's where we will return. And if you go straight to that source and hold a vision of that, it becomes a lot less complicated. So the ally of the week reminds us to hold that vision. And we've been saying this throughout the activation. Hold the vision of our highest light beyond this face and the name that we've been given. Please stop asking for individual cards. This reading is for the collective. Every week, this reading is for everyone. I do not pull individual cards. You should be able to apply this to your individual life, but this activation is for all of us as one, and that is where our focus is right now and hopefully always. Okay, so the ally being the cough reminds us this week, and you might want to put it on your altar, make it your phone background. The ally of this week reminds us, get in touch with that sun, the ultimate light of the entire universe, the light of all creation, the all virtuous light. And one way you can do that is by connecting to any of the virtues, because all of the virtues are the different rays of that sun. They're all the different pathways back to the one, all virtuous light of compassion. When that light refracted and became the rainbow, each color became a different virtue, and then became this entire reality that we see, that we experience. So let's just go straight back to the whole light, the all virtuous light, and remember that that's who we really are. Just like the Fool, if we remember that that's really who we are, then we can come back to this moment, the present moment, where we're being challenged to figure out where our heart really wants to take us. And we can realign with the divine, remember who we are, why we're here, and let that direct us. But if we don't do this first completely, we can't then put this behind us and move forward, carrying that with us always. We can't move forward with that full connection to self and trust in source. We have to really connect to that, and then we'll be ready to come back to reality, come back down to earth, and make the right choices. So right now, you might be feeling more challenged, right? Some of us might be on the more challenging aspect of this. I mean, in Sedona, we're also in the vortex. Maybe it's a little bit easier for us, but don't be fooled. When it seems easy, that's when we're fooling ourselves, right? So no matter where you are on the spectrum of the challenge and the gift with this archetype, we all have work to do right now in the same archetype, in the same lesson. But again, for some of us, we may be feeling more challenged, okay? If we don't do this enough, reconnect to that truth of who we really are, where we came from, where we return, we may be feeling like, oh, I'm really stuck. I don't know which way is the right way to go. I don't really remember who I am, so I don't really know like if I should be with this person, or I don't really know if I should pursue this project, or I don't really know if this service is helping anybody. You know, I'm just one being and I want to focus my energy appropriately. How can I best focus it? When you remember who you really are, the answer will become clearer. Okay. The 0 card, the Fool, is also connected to card 22 in the Egyptian tarot, which is known as the Annihilist or the Materialist. And that card tells us, and remember they're connected, that card, that archetype tells us that we can make as many mistakes as we need to. We can, which goes back to our conversation about mistakes a few minutes ago. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to take the first step, but do your best. And God will do the rest. Okay? So you will have as many tries as you need, but let them be honest tries. That's the other thing that wanted to come through. Okay? So connect to the Fool as much as possible. If you want to know more about how to connect to the Fool, ask me about my book. There's a special chapter in here all about the Fool that starts the book off after the storyteller's activation, of course. And it helps you to connect with that archetype Of course, the rest of the book, it tells you how to connect to all the archetypes, gives you the Hebrew letter correlations, questions to ask yourself in order to connect with each archetype. So if you want to jump in on that and you want to connect to the Fool this week, ask me about the book. I have a whole online class as well. All I need is your email. So reach out to me if you're interested in the class about the Fool, which will help you connect to the different symbols and help you form a relationship with this archetype, not only within yourself, but within the world, in your environment. Okay, so you want to really connect to that as best as possible, all the concepts that come with the Fool, so that when you come back to the challenge of the week as it pertains to your material reality and your multidimensional one, you'll know how to respond. But the more you can completely connect with this archetype, the better you'll be able to move ahead. And just one more time, what it means to connect with this archetype is remembering you're connected to an infinite source, remembering you're always protected by a loyal friend that is the light, love, truth, God, source, that your innocence is always there at your fingertips. You don't ever lose it. It's right there. You just need to lift the veils to see. You are literally blending with your environment. You're made of the elements. Okay, remember the Magician comes right first as card number 1. So this is even before that. This is before you're even in a form where we're one with all things. Okay, so the Fool oftentimes was not actually included in original tarot decks. The Fool was kind of the hidden key, and I talk about this in my book, meaning you couldn't even enter the initiation of the tarot or walk the path, the royal path, which is what tarot means. Tarot means royal path. You couldn't even walk that path and unlock the deeper initiations within each card unless you had this down, unless you had this locked in. Okay? For example, if you want to be the best magician you can be, which means connecting to the elements, making magic through that awareness, you can only do that to the extent that you've made a connection to your inner Fool. Depending upon the degree to which you connect to your faith and trust in the universe, depending upon your awareness of your true nature, will determine how deeply you're able to activate your magician, your high priestess, your empress, your emperor, the hierophant, the lovers, so on and so forth. Without having activated this, you will only, in a very shallow way, skim through the story of the tarot. You will only, in a shallow way, ride the wheel. But if you want to go deep, it all depends upon this one right here. And there are always deeper layers to go, by the way. New doors open as you go deeper with this one key of the Fool. Okay, so remember, this card was in the past position for our reading. So what that means is we're ready to let go of that and move into making the proper decisions only once we've fully dove into this archetype. And the ally reminds us, the sun, the Kaf, to hold on to that vision of the central sun of creation, the all-virtuous light of compassion. That's who we really are. I also would love to share with you guys, and I open right up to the sun, the little paragraph at the end here about the Hebrew letter Kaf. Kaf sounds similar to Kaf, K-A-F, which is a different letter in the Hebrew alphabet, comes before, which is the letter associated with Arcanum 11, strength. Here is a clear connection between strength and the sun. We accessed our higher power in Arcanum 11. And now that we've gone even farther, farther merging with it. So the 11th Arcanum, strength, has the number value of 20, while the 19th Arcanum, the sun, has the number value of 100. Through the expression 20 times 5 equals 100, we conclude that upon channeling our strength, 20, through all of our senses, times 5, we radiate our fullest power and manifestation. We radiate our fullest power and manifest our fullest potential. Okay, because 5 senses. You're like a star, 5. You have 5 points that flow with electromagnetism, your head, your hands, your feet. So 5 times, the 5 senses, right? You are the 5th element, 5. 5 times 20, which is the number value of Arcanum 11. It's showing that we manifest our fullest potential. So we are that sun, which is that star shining the light. The pictorial symbol associated with Kaf is a sun, either on or behind the horizon, representing that which is behind or that which is final. Here we gain further insight into the interplay of energies between the sun and the moon in their chase. Because remember, the moon comes right before the sun. That's Arcanum 18 and 19. Is the moon behind the sun? Or is the sun final and behind the moon? Right? Because if, for those of you who are tarot lovers, you see in the moon card of Rider-Waite, the sun is hidden within the moon. The moon is pregnant with the sun, foreshadowing what's to come. You also see this in the symbol of Mary or Isis. Here we revisit the realization that direction is only relative on the royal path as it relates to the soul's progression in its path of conscious evolution. We can move backward or forward, or even read any page of the story at random and still extract wisdom applicable to our current situation in life. So I know that's a mouthful, it's a lot, and that's really for those who want to go deeper. But basically, the main point that I think we should take from it, applying to this activation right now, is the Kaf represents the sun either behind the horizon or on the horizon. But it doesn't matter. What it's saying is the light is always there. The light is always there, here, now. And that eternal light is the light that we want to focus on, that we want to remember we are one with, in order to come back to reality and be able to break through the illusions, the lust, the temptations, the distractions, and set our heart on a goal that is truly worth the pursuit. I really see the connection between these cards, and I'm loving the story that these 3 represent together. You can take any universal symbols. Remember, universal symbols are the language that we could all understand. Symbolism is the universal language. So you can take any of these symbols and put them together and they tell a story. You just have to know how to read it, how to see it. So if you want to get better at that, if you want to get clearer on the definitions of the archetypes and how you personally relate to them and define them, that's why I wrote this book. And for those of you who want to go even deeper, I have the Royal Path 2 on the minor arcanum of the tarot, which is the whole rest of the deck. So please ask me about them if you want to order. Some of you did purchase this week. Thank you so much for your support. I am sending them out autographed and with bookmarks this week. I haven't sent out the shipment yet, so if anybody wants a book, please reach out to me sooner rather than later. They also make excellent gifts. Holidays are here. And on that topic, I am booking one-on-one readings. I know some of you reached out. I know I'm hard to catch, but I will be getting back to you all this week and scheduling my entire calendar for the month ahead. So again, the books make an excellent gift. One-on-one readings make an even more personal gift. If you want to give a meaning and personal gift that keeps on giving, a tarot activation with me is it, because it empowers you and it gives you the tools to move ahead in a way that feels right, in a way that reflects universal truth. It's not just a reading, it's an activation. So it really makes an awesome gift for the holidays, for birthdays, or just because. Just a gift to help someone who's maybe stuck, or someone maybe who's going through a beautiful time in their life and they just want the reflection and the confirmation and to ensure sustainability of their success. So it's really for anyone, any age, any time. Tarot always helps to clarify the picture of whatever we're going through even further. So there's that. And then also another awesome gift for the holidays, you guys, are these little kits that I make. I know I've talked about them before. They're for your altar. They have these sweet little items in them. This one is a magician's kit. This is a High Priestess kit. You go on your altar, and they help to remind you of the qualities of that archetype and card. You could even keep them in your pocket or carry them as a totem if you need to remember a certain aspect of yourself in that archetypal light. So the High Priestess comes with the yin yang for polarity and duality, balance. Comes with an illuminated inner eye. Some like to call it a third eye, primordial eye. It comes with a little Torah, which just represents law, universal law, truth, scripture. And it comes with a tiny little moon with a face on it to represent intuition and connection to the subconscious. Water, emotions. So if you're working on manifesting that emotional stability and that emotional mastery, if you're working on balancing your left-right brain, balancing your intuition and logic, activating any of the qualities of the High Priestess, then the High Priestess kit makes an awesome gift for yourself. Or if you know someone who would appreciate it, again, this is the time of year, right? Everybody's trying to find those personal gifts. So reach out to me if you're interested. And of course, I always have my classes available if anybody wants to go deeper into the occult symbols on the cards. I have a class on each of the major arcanum cards. Each class is 60 to 90 minutes long. They're videos. I email them to you. So reach out if you're interested. Whew. Thank you guys so much for being present for this activation and helping to allow this message to come through. Again, you can feel free to share the video here through Facebook, or you can check shortly after we end here. The video will be on YouTube and Instagram, Rebecca Magic, and you can share it with whoever you feel could use it or could help us as a collective to further activate it. I love you guys, and I will see you either next week for the next activation, which will be the full moon, or I'll see you throughout the week in our 2 private groups on Facebook, the Archetypal Alliance and Shabbat Crew. Shabbat, Shabbat. That one is where we focus more on the Torah from a Kabbalistic perspective and Jewish mysticism, which unlocks codes and keys for anyone. Doesn't matter where you're from, your culture, we all come from one ancestor. So if you want those codes and keys, join us in Shabbat Crew. I love you guys. Shalom.